To Cape Town now, coalition governments have proven unstable, but that's here in Johannesburg and the city of Tshwane. The DA, however, believes they are the future of South Africa's politics. The party today unveiled its plans to bring stability to coalition governments, and Monique Mortlock was on that story for us, and she joins us now live from our Cape Town studios. So, Monique, the DA, basically, especially here in Gauteng, they seem to be losing grip of the metros, even though they have court cases that they are attending, etc. What is the leader of the DA saying he believes the coalition government will work? Why does he say that?
Ultimately, the DA is saying that these failings that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, as you mentioned in Johannesburg with the ousting of Joburg Mayor Mpopalatse, and now in Ekurhuleni with the ANC proposing a motion of no confidence against DA Mayor Tanya Campbell. And Steenhuisen is saying that ultimately these failings are due to other political parties that it's gotten into bed with not sticking to these coalition agreements as the DA thought they would. And it's for this reason that the party believes this legislative framework that it introduced today at the media briefing in Parliament, that it's so crucial because it believes that with the ANC support seemingly waning, we could see the ANC's voter support dropping below 50%. And for this reason, we will then see coalition governments becoming a necessity or coming more to the fore post the 2024 general elections. Let's just take a listen to John Steenhuisen giving more insight.
The reality is that the ANC is in a downward spiral and it's currently taking the country down with it. The situation is very, very bad and it's getting worse. Poverty, service delivery failures, crime, corruption, debt and unemployment running completely out of control. And we cannot afford to replace a failing ANC government, whether at a national, provincial or local level, with unstable, cumbersome coalitions. And yet this is exactly what has happened in Johannesburg, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni and Nelson Mandela Bay metros after the 2021 local government elections. In these metros, residents face the constant risk of disrupted service delivery. If the current state of metro coalitions is replicated at a national and provincial government level post-2024, it will lead to permanent instability, with South Africa possibly even becoming ungovernable. We've seen what has happened in Johannesburg in the last fortnight. If that was replicated at a national level, the fallout for South Africa's economy and its standing in the world would be devastating. If coalitions are going to be the future in South Africa, then Parliament needs to take the necessary legislative steps to ensure that they are stable and are able to deliver. Many other countries have done this and are governed by successful, stable coalitions that deliver on a national level. If we fail to stabilize coalitions, poorest communities will bear the brunt of their dysfunction because they are the most reliant on government services.
So, Monique, did they outline anything, legally or legislatively that will make sure that, the coalition governments do end up working in South Africa?
The DA made it clear that the proposals that it made today, this 5-point plan that it intends to implement through the introduction of 3 private members' bills, that this is a working document and it is open to discussing these plans or proposals with other political parties and with civil organizations or civil society. And the 5-point plan includes the formalizing of coalition agreements. It includes the introduction of an independent registrar to basically oversee coalition agreements, and it also speaks about the extending the time period for the election of mayors and limiting motions of no confidence. And we know that this one in particular is a bit of a sore point for the DA when we're looking at what happened with the mayor in Joburg, Mpopalatse, and what's currently set or may take place in Ekurhuleni with the DA's Mayor Tanya Campbell. Let's just take a listen to the DA's Chief Whip, Siviwe Kwarube, explaining some of those proposals that it's brought to the table.
currently, there is no legislation that regulates coalitions, that stipulates what should be in the agreements. And so often what you see, these are just simply agreements that parties can often pull out of on a whim. As we've seen in the city of Johannesburg, a party can, for various reasons, decide to pull out of a coalition agreement. Our view is that if you formalize these coalition agreements and you create the legal framework under which they can exist, parties will be far more at pains to be able to simply pull out and destabilize an entire government. Which brings me to my next point, the third element of our proposal, which is the establishment of an independent registrar of political parties. In Kenya, for instance, the Political Act of 2007 in Kenya has established exactly this, where there is the Political Parties Act of 2007, where there is a political registrar. Our view here is that the political registrar will act as an independent, completely removed custodian of coalition agreements. So you've got codified, formalized coalition agreements to which parties are party to, and that they have signed and they've committed, and that is publicized. The registrar's job would be essentially to become the custodian of those agreements, so that we can make sure that these agreements are not the subject of disruptions or disputes between political parties. That somehow you also take the politicization of these agreements from being, the initiation